Hello friends, welcome to the session on data structures. In this session, we'll be discussing about graphs. In this session, we will see what we mean by graph, how the graphs are represented in memory, what is the different terminology that is associated with the graph, and what kind of operations that can be performed on the graph with suitable C++ program. Friends, as you know that you are viewing this session on my YouTube channel, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel to see many videos on the various topics of the subjects of electronics and computer science. So let us start the session with the question what we mean by graph. Now, many of us are on the social networks. We know that we can make the access of the social network in order to chat with the other people. We are on the Facebook, we read the news from the Twitter, we are on the LinkedIn. So there are different social network platforms and on which we are nowadays very active. Now, have you ever thought how the people on the social networks are connected to each other? You will see that all the people on the social network are connected to each other by some edges, and this can be called as a graph. So you can say that the graph is a tool that is being used for the connection of the people on the social network. So graph is a nonlinear data structure, and this data structure will consist of nodes and edges. So many of the data structure that we have seen are the linear data structures, such as array, linked list, stacks. But graph is a nonlinear data structure, and it is basically a collection of nodes and edges. The nodes of the graph can be called as the vertices, and the edges of the graph are being called as the lines or arcs. So as shown over here, there are vertices, and all these vertices are connected to each other by the edges or lines. A graph, you can say G is equal to a set of V comma E, where V is the set of vertices and E is the set of edges. So whenever we consider any graph, then basically there are two things. The first thing is that it should have the set of vertices, and the second thing is that it should have the set of edges. So for example, in this graph, we can say that the vertices are 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And as far as the edges are concerned, we can say that the edges are 0, 1, then 1, 2, then 2, 3, then 3, 4, then 3, 1, and 4, 1. So these can be the edges of this graph. Graphs are a very useful data structure because, as I told you, graphs are used to solve many real life applications. So whenever we think of any social network, or whenever we think of using Google Map, then you can think that the programming efforts have been taken to solve such problems makes the use of the graph. So graphs are used to represent the network. So whenever any network such as telecommunication network, circuit network, or computer network is there, then that network can be represented by making the use of the graph. Graphs are also used in social networks such as LinkedIn, Facebook, WhatsApp, where each person is being represented by a vertex or node. The node in the graph, say for example, in a social network, whenever we represent each person by a node, then the node will contain the information such as the identity, then the name of the person, the gender of the person, the address of the person, and some other fields that are being required to represent that person. So Google Maps also makes the use of the graph. So every location on the Google map is being represented by the vertices. And we can always make the use of the graph to find the shortest distance between any two locations on the Google map. So let us understand some terminology that is being always used whenever we study graphs. Vertex, you can say that each node in the graph is being called as a vertex. So as shown in this diagram, the node that is being represented is being called as a vertex. The edge is just nothing but the part between the two vertices, and it is represented by the adjacent vertices. So for example, A is being connected to the B, so there is an edge between A and B. Similarly, there is an edge between C and G. Adjacency is another term that is being frequently used in graph. When the two vertices are adjacent, and we can say that they are adjacent to each other when they are connected to each other by the edge. So one can say that A and B are adjacent, A and D are adjacent, A and E are also adjacent. We can define another term that is being called as a loop. Now, whenever we have an edge of the form which starts from some vertex U and it comes back to the same vertex U, then it can be called as a loop. So whenever we start from some vertex and if we are able to reach to the same vertex, then that can be called as a loop. So for example, if I start from K, then I will go to I, then L, then H, and then I will come back to K. So that can be called as a loop of the graph. Path, you can say, is a sequence of edges between the two vertices. So whenever we think of any two vertices, say for example, K and L, then the path is K to I and I to L. A graph can be called as a connected graph when there is a path from any vertex to every other vertex, then that can be called as a connected graph. So when there is no any isolated vertex, which is not connected to the other vertices, then that graph can be called as a connected graph. Now we can define the term called as a degree of vertex. That is the number of incident edges on the vertex is being called as the degree of the vertex. Say for example, A has 3 edges and therefore the degree of the vertex A is 3. Isolated vertex will not have any connection edge between the other vertices and therefore it will have a degree 0. And the pendant vertex is the vertex which has only one edge connected to the other vertex and therefore its degree is 1. So for example, the vertex D is the pendant vertex where it will have a degree 1. A graph can be undirected graph, that is the edges do not have a particular direction. The graph can be a directed graph where every edge will have a direction so that we can traverse the graph in particular direction. And the graph can be a cyclic graph also, where it is possible that you can reach the same vertex after traveling or visiting the other vertex of the graph. Now let us understand how the graphs are represented in memory. A graph can be represented in memory by using two methods. The first method is that we can represent the graph in memory, and it is called as the sequential representation. So whenever we want to represent the graph by a sequential representation, then it is necessary that we should create an adjacency matrix for the given graph, and then we can represent it in memory. Another way to represent the graph is the linked representation. And in the linked representation, we can represent the graph by making the use of the linked list. That is, here we need to make the use of the adjacency list to represent the graph. The adjacency matrix A for a graph G is equal to V comma E is where the graph is having n vertices. Then the adjacency matrix will be n by n matrix such that the Aij is equal to 1 whenever there is an edge from the vertex Vi to Vj, and Aij is equal to 0 whenever there is no edge from Vi to Vj. Say for example, when we consider the graph like this, then we can convert this graph into adjacency matrix as shown in this window. So there is an edge from A to B, from A to E, and therefore you will find that from A to B there is there is one represented in the adjacency matrix, and from A to E the one is being represented while the others are represented by the number 0. So similarly, we can think of the age from B to A, then B to E, and B to C, and therefore the corresponding uh, element in the adjacency matrix is represented by 1 and other elements are represented by 0. So in this way, we can prepare the adjacency matrix for any given graph. Now in the linked representation, whenever we want to represent the graph, then it is necessary that we should create the adjacency list, and then by making the use of the adjacency list, you can represent the graph. So for example, if this is the graph given, then we know that A is connected to B and A is connected to D, and therefore we can have a pointer from A to B and from B to D, and then the pointer of the D will hold a null value. Similarly, from B, there are edges to A, D, and C, and therefore we can have a pointer from B to A, then to D, and then to C, and the pointer value for this node of C will have a null value. So in this way, we can prepare the adjacency list for any given graph, and then this adjacency list can be represented by making the use of the linked list. And this matrix can be represented by making the use of two-dimensional array. Now let us understand what are the different operations that can be performed on the graph. The common operation that we need to perform on the graph is called as the traversing operation, where we can make the visit to each and every node of the graph. Another popular operation that we always need to perform on graph is called as a searching. So searching is just nothing but finding the location of the node n in the graph. Insertion is the another operation where we can add the node n in the graph. Deletion is another operation where we can remove the required node from the graph. Apart from these operations, it is also possible that you can perform several other operations such as merging of the vertices, where two or more vertices can be merged with each other, splitting of the vertices, where you can split one vertex into two or more vertices. You can contract the edge also. So as shown in this diagram, you will find that as far as the traversing operation is concerned, we can start from the level 0 with a root, and then we can go on visiting each and every element. So we have to start from some node, isn't it? You can start from any node, and whenever you start from the any node, then you can go on visiting each and every node of the graph, and that is being called as a traversing operation of the graph. So in this particular graph, we can start from A, then we'll go to B, then C, then D, then we will go to E, then F, then G, and then H. So now let us understand how we can write a C++ program to perform the traversing operation on the graph. Suppose we have been given a graph which will consist of the vertices 0, 1, 2, 3. The edges are the directed edges, and suppose we want to start from the vertex number 2. Now, initially in the C++ program, you need to include the required header files, and then you need to add them by using the namespace standard. Now you have to declare a class graph where it will consist of the variable v, which will stand for the number of vertices, and then you will require a pointer to an array containing the adjacency list. Then you can make the use of the constructor function graph, of which the argument is integer v. Then you can make the use of the function to add an edge on the graph, and this function is add edge, where it will have the two parameters v and w. Then in order to traverse through a graph and to print the graph, each vertex of the graph, we can make the use of the function BFS, where it will take the argument from where you have to start. So starting vertex is its argument. Now in the constructor function, we will make the use of this pointer in order to assign the value for B. And then we will define the adjacency is equal to new list V. Then we will make the use of, we will define the function add age. And in the add age, we will make the use of this adjacent V dot push back W. That is, we are adding W to the V list. Then this is a traversing operation BFS, where we will read the parameter S. We will mark all the vertices as not visited initially. Then we will create a queue for the BFS. Then we will mark the current node as the visited and enqueue it. Then we will make the use of I to be used to get all adjacent vertices of the vertex. And we will dequeue a vertex from the queue and print it. Then we will get all adjacent vertices of the dequeue. If a adjacency has not been visited, then we will mark it, and if it is visited, mark it visited, and we will enqueue it. So in the main program, we will create a graph as shown in the diagram, where there are 4 vertices, and we will add the edges such as 0, 1, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2, 0, 2, 3, and 3, 3. And then we will perform the traversing operation by making the use of the statement g.bfs2, where we will start from the traversing operation with the vertex 2. And then finally we will return 0 to our main program. So when you type this program and execute it by using suitable online C++ compiler, then you will get the message that the breadth-first traversal of the graph will consist of the vertices 2, 0, 3, and 1. So thank you, friends, for viewing the session. Hopefully you have understood what we mean by graph and how to perform the traversing operation on the graph. Thank you all.